Say hi.
Oh. Hi besties, I hope you guys are having an amazing day so far. Today's video is a little bit different from the usual vlogs that I've been doing these past couple weeks because I really wanted to have a good and interesting filler video while I'm in my move-in process. Honestly, I don't even want to call it a filler because I've really been wanting to make this kind of video. But yeah, my move-in vlog is spanning across I think almost 3 weeks, so it's definitely going to be a process and I want to have a video up every Sunday and be in my consistent era. So yeah, here are 10 things I wish that I knew before getting a cat as a 19-year-old in college. So for a little bit of background, I had been a dog person pretty much my whole life. I had been so excited to get a dog, and then as a little kid I got my childhood dog named Penny. She's still alive and well, but she lives with my brother now, and obviously I moved away for college. So when I moved away for college, I joined an on-campus organization that helped the stray cats in our area. Of course, there was a heavy emphasis on volunteering, so I was around cats all the time. I fell in love with not only like the funny little quirks that cats tend to have, but also like the truly devastating backgrounds that they can come from sometimes. So eventually, of course, I rescued Chloe, my firstborn cat. And then not too long after, I also rescued Peaches, her older brother. He is 13 years old and was devastatingly abandoned by his family at 13 years old. Chloe still has like a lot of leftover kitten energy, so she's very energetic, very sassy, like a huge character. Peaches is also a character, but just in his own way. Like he's very vocal. And he's just like so funny too. I don't know, like I always manage to catch a picture of him in like the funniest pose or like mid-scream. Her heart is definitely gonna grow so big for these animals, especially the ones that come from tough backgrounds, but it's also really important to remember that they're still living creatures. They're 100% a huge responsibility to take on, and so good for you for educating yourself with things that you should know before you adopt a cat. Look, she even came to say hi. I told you guys she was sassy. Tell me she's not the cutest thing ever. So our first category is going to be behavior. Obviously, as a dog person, there was a lot of things that I had to learn about cat body language, cat behavior, cat habits, things like that. So the first thing is that their adjustment period is going to look so different from when they're actually adjusted. Do not freak out if they're hiding and like wanting to be alone, wanting to be like under your bed, under your wardrobe. Don't get offended if they're avoiding you at first, because think about it, like how would you feel if somebody just like up and moved you to some brand new location? Sometimes you will hear that it can be kind of a warning sign that something's wrong if they're hiding a lot. It definitely can be. So if they've already been adjusted and they're all of a sudden doing that, then yes, that might be a warning sign, but it is completely normal for the first couple of days or even weeks. The second thing is that you're going to become an incredibly gentle person at home, both emotionally and physically. This isn't the case so much for Peaches, but Chloe is definitely super jumpy at like any slight movement. I forgot where exactly I heard this, but a comparison I heard that was really good was like, imagine how you feel when you're like anticipating a jump scare in a movie, and imagine that being their reality all the time. Obviously, the ultimate goal is to have your cat trust you and feel comfortable around you, but yeah, of course it is impossible to never startle them on accident. But you'll definitely see what I mean, like small changes to your demeanor or like doing things slowly or softly or quietly, like so as not to startle them. Another thing is that they can definitely be super clingy and cuddly, but just not in the same way that dogs are. Dogs, at least in my experience, like always want to be on you, always want to be affectionate, but with cats it's very much on their own terms, which is totally fine. Though I will say though, like they're the cutest thing ever, so sometimes I get like a rush of affection and I just want to like coo at them and like cuddle them and squeeze them, but you have to hold it back because it's on their terms only. It's just out of respect for your cat. Like obviously you want your cat to trust you, but also know that you're going to respect their physical boundaries. And on that same note, your cat will let you know when they want affection and when they don't. So they come up to you, they'll cuddle next to you, they're gonna nudge you exactly where they want to be pet, but don't push their boundaries. We've been talking a lot about trust, and that's actually my next point. With a cat, trust is earned and maintained. My cat Chloe was super shy and timid and just not very friendly when I first got her, and now she's super cuddly with me, but she does like to change her boundaries in the blink of an eye, and I have to respect that. So for example, the other day she was curled up on the carpet all comfortable. She got up, she cuddled next to me, she nudged me for pets. I was petting her for maybe like 20 seconds before she swatted at me because she decided she was done. Now eventually you do pick up on like the different like cues that they give, that they're kind of like not wanting to be pet or anything like that, but sometimes they genuinely just don't give you any warning, so you have to respect when they decide that enough's enough. Up next is the health category. I don't know about you guys, but at least for me, I started to pay closer attention to what I was feeding them than what I eat every day. And yeah, I say that like in a joking manner, but it truly is a delicate part of having a cat because their diet is very important. Cats need a really careful nutritional balance as well as a lot of extra hydration efforts because they're not as good about drinking water as dogs are. Don't get me wrong, I love a good feed my cat dinner with me TikTok because I make a bunch on my own, but it is important to note that most wet and dry foods on the market are already well balanced, so you don't want to throw off the balance with too many like extra toppers. I'm not a cat nutritionist or anything like that, but it is pretty easy to go online and make sure that what you're feeding them is well balanced. Another thing, cat proofing is real. I don't know what it is, but they genuinely become menaces at night. Like they'll go the whole day without thinking something's interesting, and then all of a sudden at night they have to explore it. At least for my cats, they love playing with like random string like things, but that can get super dangerous dangerous, so it's important to pick up after yourself, make sure all of those things are out of reach from your cats. Some of the toys that I have for them that they absolutely love do contain strings, but I make sure to put those away after I'm done playing with them. Now, this might be sort of niche, but if you're a big plant and like flower lover, then it might be important that you check that what you have in your home is not bad for your cats, because they can get into it and that can be toxic. And for our final category, we have hard truths. Of course, there's the expenses side of it. Before I even got my first cat, like I was so certain that I was gonna budget super well and super organized, but no, like things come up. There's enrichment, there's supplements, there's like changing the litter because the tracking starts to drive you crazy. I'm not the greatest at that, and I can admit that, but I think my best piece of advice is to write everything that you tend to get them on like a monthly or like bi-monthly basis and keep track of what you're spending and how you're using it. It's also important to note that it is super important to have pet insurance just in case something happens, but I will note that I actually only have insurance for Chloe. This is because she's still young and most insurance companies will cover things for her, but for Peaches, because he's 13, it's not only super expensive every month, but most things are considered like pre-existing just because of his age. So do your research, get it if it's something that makes sense for you. Routine. If you don't want them waking you up in the middle of the night because they feel like bugging you for dinner, then you need to get them on a routine, and sometimes that means getting yourself on one too. I will say my cats do actually wake me up in the morning, but they kind of serve as my alarm clock because they know exactly what time they're supposed to eat, so they don't wake me up at like a ridiculous hour. They just make sure I'm awake at like the appropriate hour. So if for whatever reason your alarm doesn't go off in the morning, you'll have your cats reminding you that it's time for breakfast. It's genuinely not just for you either though. It'll give your cat something to look forward to every day. For example, my cats run at me every time that I get home from work because they know that I'm gonna give them pets and like give them cuddles and give them extra attention and love. It's like exciting for both of us that I'm getting home from work and greeting them. So much patience. At least in my experience, my childhood dog was like so easy to train. I would spend max like 1 or 2 treat sessions with her before she learned a new trick. And it also of course helped that destructiveness like was never really in her nature. She's the sweetest thing ever. With cats, they're definitely not the easiest to train, and they're also not very consistent. They require a lot of like positive reinforcement, redirection, true of course. Even then, they can perfectly understand what you want them to do and just not care and not do it. They're just very stubborn and very independent, and that's something about a cat's nature that you're gonna have to learn to appreciate. Which brings me to my final point, compromise. I tried the training, I tried the positive reinforcement, I tried the true. Eventually I just had to buy the cord covers. Eventually I just had to begin storing things out of reach and not where I would usually put them. Their safety is always gonna outweigh not only just your convenience, but also trying to train something that's already within their natural instincts. That's everything I have for you guys today. Let me know if you want any more tips, or if you have any more, please drop them in the comments. And make sure to stay tuned for my moving vlog. My little angels and I will be going to a different apartment. Bye!